think I told you that before.
Yeah. Today is October 16th, 2023. My name is Joe Todd. This is an interview of Charles Ketchum in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Sir, where were you born?
In Dewey, I guess. Between Dewey, I think they call it Wayside. Close to Wayside, Oklahoma.
Yes. When's your birthday?
The 3rd, 25.
3/25/25. Huh?
Who is your father?
Abraham William Ketchum.
And your mother?
There's Ella Laura Hudson.
Hudson. Where did you start school?
What?
Where did you start school? Was it Wayside?
Yeah, Wayside.
Okay.
Yeah.
What year did you graduate high school?
I didn't graduate.
Okay. How far did you go?
I went one day.
How large was the school at Wayside?
It was a 2-room schoolhouse. There was 9 kids in one room and 14 in the other.
Okay. What was the name of your teacher?
Thomas Reynolds.
Thomas Reynolds. What type of work did your father do?
I didn't understand.
What type of work did your father do?
My father, he didn't teach.
I'm sorry?
He didn't teach.
He didn't. What did he do?
He worked in the oil field,
Well, oil fields.
drove a team pulling wells for Evans and I don't know the other guy's name. I forgot his name.
Did you help him in the oil fields?
Some.
What'd you do?
I drug the rods out. Pulled the rods out when they pulled them with the team of horses.
Did you work with the horses?
No, my dad worked with them.
Okay.
He drove a team, pulled the wells, and pulled the tubing, done all that. No,
How deep were the wells around here?
they were, some of them, they'd come in at 800, and some of them went to 1,200, way up to Bartersville. Went to 1,200 and something.
What oil field was that in?
That was Godfelter.
Gladfelder.
Gladfelter.
Gladfelter.
Okay.
I can't think his first name.
Okay. Okay.
Cecil,
Cecil.
I believe.
Yeah. How did the Depression affect you and your family?
Didn't understand it.
How did the Depression affect you and your family?
You know, I didn't remember much about that. It's all good times. I was a kid and everything seemed, I didn't see nothing out of the way.
Did you live on a farm?
Yeah,
What chores did you do on the farm?
I'd done everything. I drove a team of horses and plowed hard, done all the work. That's we raised a calf of corn, maize, and everything.
What were your horses' names?
But what?
What were your horses' names?
One of them was Barney. He was a white horse, and he was a bad horse. But he's a good farm horse. But you tie him up, he'd he'd hang himself. He finally hung himself. He was a good workhorse, so.
So you raised Kaffir corn and corn, and what else?
Wheat, oats, barley, soybean. I put up our own hay, sit-in grass, which sowed it, you know.
Okay.
Had to pitch. We had to cut it and to stack it. We had to use pitchforks, put it on a wagon with the team of horses and drive down and throw it on there with a pitchfork. But that was hard work.
Did you have a walking plow or riding plow?
I had a walking plow sometimes. I had one I could use, and I had a riding plow one time I could use.
Yeah. How big was a walking plow?
It was just one plow, and you had handles up on it. The handles was still out still out there on the farm.
How many acres could you plow in one day?
Gosh, I have no idea. We had 80-acre farm, and I plowed, and then you have to hard, you know, smooth it.
Yeah.
And I'd plow, and then I'd get that done that hard.
Describe your house on the farm.
Describe what?
Describe the house on the farm.
House?
Yes.
How? Well, it wasn't a very nice house. It was a wood house, you know, and like they used to always build. Looked about the same as all of them, I thought, around there. But we had 3 houses burned down on that farm. One burned down when I was grown, one burned down when I was in school, another burned down when I'd been somewhere, I forgot where I'd been. Anyway,
How deep was your water well?
it was 30 foot. It would hit water, but if you went too deep, you'd get
Yes.
jippy water.
How far from the house was the well, the water well?
It was right there, next right in the back of the house. There's a porch up over it.
What chores did you do around the house?
Around the house, I milked 5 cows before I went to school. And I was, I don't know, 6 or 7. And, but that's my chore in the morning before I went to school. And then I rode a horse to school, half a mile to school.
How many grades did you complete?
How many days?
How many grades in school did you complete?
8.
8.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to the 8th grade in Wayside
Okay.
and started at school in Dewey.
Yeah. What's the favorite dish your mother made?
I don't know. Made too many favorites.
Was she a good cook?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
I thought she was. Yeah, she cooked a lot, that's for sure.
Did you help her can?
Not much.
Okay.
I wasn't much of a canner. And I still ain't.
After the 8th grade, what did you do?
I went to work on the farm.
Okay. What'd you do?
I done the plowing,
Okay.
hard,
Okay.
yeah, farming.
Yes.
I wasn't included in the farming.
Where were you December 7th, 1941? That's when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. That's when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor.
After?
No. Where were you when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor? Do you remember that day?
No.
Okay.
I tried to forget everything, and I tried to forget everything that happened overseas.
Yes.
I forgot most of it, but it trickles back through my mind once in a while. But I try to keep it out.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
Oh, what?
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
I drafted.
When were you drafted?
See, my mind elapses sometimes, and I forget everything. And I forgot that.
Where'd you go for basic training?
For camp training,
Yeah, for basic training.
basic training.
Yes.
And for Camp Fannin, Texas.
Camp Fannin, Texas. Tell me about basic.
It was hell. I had a sergeant that tried to kill us and cuss you and slap you, and wasn't nothing they could do about it then. They didn't care.
Yeah.
And we was training for jungle training, and he put us through jungle training. He had been over there,
Yeah.
and he had a spot in his leg, big spot. He crippled all the time. He took it out on the boys. And I just a big old farm boy. I didn't know nothing. I was scared to death of him.
What's your best memory of basic? What's your best memory of basic?
Best memory. I don't have no best memory.
Okay. Have any bad memories of basic?
What?
Have any bad memories of basic?
I have memories. I have one of an old boy from New York City. He stood up to the sergeant, but he didn't mean thing. He kicked over. Well, you stack rifles when you get to the place where you stop.
Yeah.
After, well, they were marching yet, marching us. And he stopped us. And this old boy from Chicago was, I don't know what nationality he was, but he wasn't, he was different nationality than I am. But anyway, he kicked over that whole stack of rifles, and the sergeant hit him, and he hit the sergeant back. And the sergeant told him he was going to be court-martialed. From then on, I don't know anything else because they didn't show nothing else.
Yeah.
They tell us nothing, didn't tell the other soldiers nothing what happened to him.
Yes.
They just took him away.
Yep. How long did basic last?
It lasted about, it was a short training because they was in need of replacements over in Korea.
Okay.
That's extra coffee.
And
Okay. Let me see. Oh. You were inducted September 19th, 1944.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. After basic, where did you go?
They shipped us to Arkansas they thought they had a camp there down that trained soldiers. But when we got there, it was night, and they had quit. There was no more training there. So they sent us to Camp Fannin.
Sam Houston?
They sent us to Camp Fannin.
Okay.
Training.
Now you
Camp
just basic.
Fannin training. That's where we stayed.
Oh, you were sent back to Camp Fannin?
Yeah, well, that's where after we left, that's when we started.
Yes.
We started at Arkansas,
Okay.
at where they had the training camp there. And then we never unloaded. They just said, come and told us that they had no more training camp there. We had to go to Texas.
Was that Camp Fort Chaffee or Camp Robinson?
Camp Chaffee was Arkansas, wasn't it?
Yes, yes. There's Camp Chaffee and Fort Robinson at Little Rock.
No, I never took no training there.
Okay, okay,
No. That's the ones was closing,
okay.
and they shipped us on to Texas.
So to Camp Fannin, then you trained there.
And we trained at
Yes.
Camp Fannin,
Okay. So after Camp Fannin, where'd you go?
yes. After Camp Fannin, we went to, I think it was, I forgot how many weeks we trained. It was a short training because it was in need of people.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent us to California.
California.
Camp, there's a big general's camp.
There's Camp Roberts.
The one in San Francisco.
Oh, the Presidio? The Presidio of San Francisco?
It was a big general had it built for the soldiers
Okay,
to have a beer for 10 cents a mug.
yeah.
And that's about all I remember about.
Because there was,
We went there and drank beer, and then we went back to camp. We had beds or what? I guess it's beds. I don't know what it was.
now there was
They was
Oakland.
hot.
There's Army base at Oakland.
No, it wasn't Oakland.
Okay.
I don't believe it was. I don't know. I forgot that part. That's
Because the big bases there were the Presidio and then the Army base at Oakland.
This was a big one. A big general had built a
Yeah.
big deal on the shore, ocean, somewhere close anyway, so for the soldiers that come through there,
Yeah.
going to being shipped out.
That
Okay.
probably would have been Presidio.
We was ready to be shipped out.
Probably would have been Presidio, wouldn't
Yeah.
it, if it was on the ocean?
Yeah, yeah.
About Fort Ord.
Was it Fort Ord?
Fort Ord, California, sounds familiar.
That's
from
on the ocean.
Fort Ord, yeah, but it must have been. It sounds familiar
Yeah.
back, but I
Okay.
can't call it.
Okay. Tell me about going overseas.
That was bad.
Why was it bad?
It's bad because we went over on a cattle ship. They said it was a cattle ship. They shipped cattle back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And we was all downstairs, but they wouldn't let us on the deck. And we had cots down there, and what we slept on. And we had no cooks, no cooking. There was no cooking on that ship. You had cave rations, and they had fruit. You'd have oranges, and you'd have K rations. K rations had a big chocolate bar, big chocolate bar, about that long, about that wide. And I didn't like them. And the guy that had an orange, I'd trade him a cabinet bar for an orange to eat dinner. That's all you had to eat. I mean, you had nothing else to eat. You'd have a K ration and a little can of scrambled eggs, and that's about all it was as a K ration. You know what a K ration is?
Tell me about the K rations.
Well, it's a box. It's about like a Cracker Jack box, about the size, and it has an egg and it has a cracker, hard crackers, not like the sunshine crackers. Hard little long crackers, you know. Well, they made them fit in this little box, little Cracker Jack box, and it seemed like they had they had something else. Can't think what it was.
When you were getting on the ship heading out, what were you thinking?
I don't know what I was thinking, but I was scared to death. I'd never been off of the farm. I didn't know nothing, and I was scared.
How'd you pass the time on the trip?
The time on the ship was scary. I was scared it was going to sink. All 31 days I was out there. I was scared it was going to sink. When it was in the middle of the ocean, there was waves. They was a mile high. That's hard to believe. You go down in these valleys. Deep canyon look like, go back up, and that thing had just popped back down on the middle of the ship, come down on that high part of the wave. I never felt or saw such waves. Once in a while, I could get a glimpse out the window. You know, they had windows around on that ship.
Many guys get seasick?
They was all seasick. They was puking all over that ship. I guess I was the only one that didn't get seasick. I was so sick I couldn't puke. Just watching them, you know. And I think me trading for that orange meal helped me.
Yes.
From.
Yes.
But I'd have to see them because it's all around me. It was all around me, and it's sick, all sick. I mean sick. I don't mean just little sugar. I'm sick of my stomach. I feel bad. Not that.
What were you told to do in case the ship was sinking?
They told you there wasn't nothing you could do. There's nothing. The best swimmer in the world could never swim out of that. That's what they told me. They said, you will learn to swim or you won't go overseas. I never did learn to swim. I went overseas.
Have a life jacket?
No, nothing would have done you any good out there. You're just as well off having nothing on. Life jacket, nothing. Even a boat couldn't go. You couldn't get a boat through there. It hadn't been a big ship, it never went through there. And we got halfway, and about, I don't know, it was halfway. Anyway, we got a ways over there, and they ran onto a submarine, and they dropped launched submarines from that ship, and we circled around there for must have been, I don't know, maybe a half hour, maybe less.
What unit were you assigned to?
You know, they assigned me to so many units, I never did catch the one I really was assigned to. Because they assigned me to one, well, we're going to send you over here to nothing. I remember something. One of them I said, I don't know what. I believe it was the 40th Division, 108th Infantry Division. I was in the infantry. Infantry was all I was saying. Infantry training, infantry this, infantry that. The worst part of it.
You recall the name of the ship you were on?
You know, I forgot the name of the first one. I went over. I forgot the name of that one, and I remembered the one I come back on. It was a Sea Star.
Sea Star?
We got a
Sea
picture of
Star.
it right here.
But the first one, it must have been Seahawk. I'm thinking it was Seahawk, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's what come to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it's real. But I got a picture of it. Well, I got a picture of the Seahawk too.
No, just the Sea Star, Dad. I don't have one. of
I
the
don't know
Sea
what
Star.
happened to the other one. I don't know. They've all been. You don't know where all this stuff has been.
Yeah.
I don't know how even that much stayed together.
Where did the ship land?
When we come back, it landed in San Francisco.
No, when you went overseas, where did the ship
When I
land?
went overseas, our first stop was what did I tell you that was? New Guinea.
New Guinea.
New Guinea, we stopped to fuel up, fuel the ship in New Guinea.
What'd you do at New Guinea?
We bought bananas. Because they let the civilians fruit. That's all I had to sell to you, to the servicemen. And I bought all the bananas I could get to have food, because I couldn't eat rations every day. They was killing me. So I ate bananas every day for a while. But,
From New Guinea, where'd you go?
you know, I don't know where we went from there. I know it was dark, and I couldn't tell where we was going. And I don't even remember the name of the place where we landed.
Did you go to the Philippines?
Yeah.
What was your job in the unit?
Where was I assigned?
Yes.
I was assigned to machine gunner
Okay.
in a heavy water-cooled 30 caliber.
Water cooled 30 caliber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I went to training or combat.
Okay.
And,
What's the crew of that machine gun? How many men operate that machine gun?
5.
5?
Yeah.
What was your job?
I was I did all of them. I did the ammo carrier, the tripod carrier, and the machine gunner. It was let's see, that's 3 men. That's 3 men. I thought there was. I'm thinking there was 5 men. There was ammo bearers.
Okay.
I guess, 2 or 3 ammo bearers. Because they was a machine gunner and one that fed it, and then the ones that set them up,
Yeah.
ones the ones that carried the ammunition,
Okay.
and they was in big boxes, you know.
Yeah, the ammo cans. Yeah.
Yeah, ammo cans.
Yeah. What did you do in the Philippines?
That that's about all I remember doing. I was in there about a year. I think it seemed like it was a year and a half. I was in a lady, which are in with yeah. We went into lady.
That's the Battle of Leyte Gulf. The Battle of Leyte.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lady.
What did you do in that battle?
I carried the machine gun part of the time, and the other time I was sitting when we would stop, stopping, and something happening, shooting.
Yeah.
There was shooting going on, and rest of us, we was there quite a while. It seemed like a year, year and a half. We was on the big island, the lady.
Yeah.
There was a big island, the lady, and we invaded the big and the little island of Lady.
Well, the big island was Luzon, and then Leyte is a smaller island. Yeah.
And Luzon, that's where my brother-in-law, Leonard Anderson, he went 3 days over before I did. And he was over there. They put him on the front line, and he got shot the 3rd day he was out there. Shot him through the ear. Went through right through his, next to his eye, went through his ear, out. Didn't kill him.
When the shooting started, what did you do?
What?
When the shooting started, what did you do?
When much started?
When the shooting.
When the shooting started, what did you do?
Mosquitoes?
No, the shooting. When the shooting started, what did
Well,
you
he
do?
was in it.
Yeah.
Most certainly, the heavy machine gunner was out.
Yeah.
He was out on top. And
You mentioned the. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
what?
You said the machine gunner was on top.
No, he was sitting down. He was sitting down behind the machine gun.
Yeah.
He was pedaling off around.
How bad were the mosquitoes?
Mosquitoes would rake them in by the handful. I had, got on shore once, and I had malaria. So I was out of work or out of combat there in a tent out in the jungle. Before they give me Atterbury, that's all you could do. Give you Atterbury for them little yellow pills, nasty as they can be. And they give you them, and that's all they give you. You just stayed, you had to be still, you had to stay still. And they give you Atterbury, and I think I was in that hospital, tent hospital, I believe about 2 weeks. Seemed like it was close to 2 weeks before I got back in the war again. I got to rest a little while, but it wasn't very long.
How long were you in the Philippines?
Well, altogether, I thought I was there a year and a half, or 2 years. Because when I left there, we'd got them mopped up all in them islands, and we'd on our way to New Guinea or Japan. We was on our way to invade or take over Japan. And we got halfway there, a little over halfway there, just a little ways off. And they dropped the nitrogen bomb.
Dropped the bomb.
And that shut it down right then. Hero, he gave up then, but he wouldn't tell then. And they sent our bunch to Korea. And I we was in Korea 8 months. I was in the military government. And they had us, our platoon went in this military government, and they're delivering military government official mail on a plane, on a train, on a car, however you could get there. But they give you authority over all guns, shooting them if you had to. Because you was in the military government, you was the boss. And if they kicked the generals or whoever was off of the plane off, because he had the weapon, you know. he didn't like it, but he'd get off.
Yeah. What did you do in the military government?
I was carrying military government mail
Okay.
to these different towns
Okay.
in Korea. And it might be one time, and one the next, another the next. It shipped it, they put us around in different, I don't know how many of us there was. There's several of us in the military government, though. We never did a thing over there. We got there, we took the Japanese out of there. I guess I got ahead of myself. We got the Japanese out of Korea, herded them up on a jeep and a machine gun, took them out and put them on the boat. But they was already to give up, you know.
Yeah.
They didn't all give up, but most of them had. Ones just shooting at you. There was still some, though, that never give up. They were still willing to kill you, American.
Did you work with those Japanese prisoners?
Huh?
Did you work with the Japanese prisoners?
Only the ones we took prisoner
Okay.
in the jungles.
What was their attitude?
Huh?
What was their attitude, the prisoners you took?
Some of them went to school in New York City and Chicago. They was from different places where they lived, and they went back home, they said, you know, to Japan, and they took them right into the army and shipped them, put them on a plane, shipped them over there and dumped them off in them islands.
You have any contact with the local people in Korea? Have any contact with the local people in Korea?
have any contracts?
Yeah, with the local people in Korea. You know, the Koreans.
Oh yeah, we had Koreans work for us.
What was their attitude?
They was happy that we had come in. They said they'd been treated terrible. Well, the only place we had when we got there, Korea, was in the Seoul, the Capitol building,
Yeah.
to stay. So our bedding was made in the Capitol building.
Yeah, they're in Seoul, Korea. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the only good times I had in the service. Good times. I thought the good times that happened then.
Tell me about the good times.
Well, we could pick our girlfriends. We could. It's kind of funny thinking back on it, you know. I don't do it all the time. But anyway, you know, and they had a cafe, a Korean cafe, run by the Koreans, but it was inspected by the Americans.
Yeah.
Inspected food and everything we ate and drank. And we could go there and buy a steak. And that was unusual. I'd never seen a cooked meal and go there and get a little piece of round steak. And oh, it was the best you ever tasted. I loved it. I'd go there almost every day and eat. When I was there,
Yeah.
I wasn't there all the time, but so I was out on the trip several times. But when I was there, I'd eat there. I'd go there and eat. And they finally built Quonset huts in Korea for the ones that did stop there. It just kind of was on your own.
Yeah.
I mean, after we got there, they didn't expect us to do anything, only our job, and that was our job. And they would deliver mail to big generals, different islands where they was stationed, and we could just do whatever we wanted, really, you know, when we got there. But I was so happy. I don't know.
I'd like to ask, when you were on the ship heading toward Japan to invade Japan, were you scared?
You betcha. You betcha. We knew we was to die because we was to hit the very point where they'd already told us. They're already set up. And you're going right to this point, and you're going to land there and get off. You got to get off to get in before we get to the island. You know, we had to get in that PT boat, or not PT boat.
Higgins boat?
It's a boat that's got the flat bottom in it and the lid flaps down.
That's the Higgins boat.
I don't know.
The Higgins boat.
Yeah, I don't know the name of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
As a landing craft.
Yeah, it's what they run up there and layer down, and you get to the shore the best way you can, and you have whatever you're carrying, your machine gun, your weapons, you know, whatever, rifle, pistol. I carried a pistol because I had to, because we couldn't carry a rifle with the machine gun.
Yeah. How did you train for the invasion of Japan?
They run us through a short training before we got ready to go to Japan. It was short training because we'd already been through shot every gun that they ever had, and we was all ready. We was ready. It'd have been more like man to man.
It's going to be hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, and we knew what we was getting
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
And when they dropped that bomb, well, you never heard so much yelling on a ship, and so every soldier on there was so happy. I tell you, it was like heaven, I think. But it was a relief, a great relief. I still think about it. I still dream about it. Sometimes I did. I don't much anymore. I've got rid of all thinking about that.
How long you in Korea?
8 months.
Did you get to Japan?
No, I never got to Japan. Never got to Japan. I was close to it, but never got there. I wanted to see it, but
Yeah.
I didn't get to. But I'm glad I didn't get to see it the way I would have went in looking at it. But I might not have saw it then.
What's your best memory of your Army career?
That's the best memory of it. Korea. Best memory I had. Because that's where we was put our own boss, you might say. The only thing when they went to, they gave out the deals, the
Medals?
the things that goes on your arm.
Oh, the stripes?
Stripes.
Yeah.
I didn't get no stripes.
You didn't. Why not?
They told me when I left to come home, I asked them, I said, I need some different stripes in this single stripe. First class pilot, or first class.
Yeah, PFC, private first class.
Yeah. I said, I need something different than that to show my mom. She's not gonna be very proud of me. He said, we'll see what we can do. He went and they'd already given them the ones. Of course, we'd been back there a while, and the ones was in my deal. They'd already been in and got their stripes. I don't know when they went in and got them. They got ahead of me somewhere, and I never did get them.
Yeah.
He told me, he said, the only stripes we got left is first sergeant. I said, well, that'd do. There's two generals there. They both said, I give my last corporal signed this morning. If you'd have come in then, you could have got it. The other one said, and I gave mine away last night. Said, and a boy come to me and one, and then he said, and I had one that's first sergeant. And he said, I could have give you any of them. But he said, I'm coming up with a first general, first sergeant. And I said, he said, we could give it to you. I mean, you could go with it. But if one of the generals, where you going, before we was getting on the ship to come home, he said, if one of them had asked you to lead this bunch of men, you never have led men before. I said, no, but I could.
Yeah.
He said, well, they might not think so. And he said, then we would be responsible for it. And he said, I don't mind being responsible, though. You deserve it. You deserve it. But it didn't do me no good when I got down in Texas. Didn't even think of that before they dumped us off.
Yeah. What's your worst memory?
Worst memory? I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. Tell me about coming home.
They brought us to train to Tulsa.
Did the ship land in San Francisco? Did the ship land in San Francisco?
The ship landed in San Francisco.
You went under the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
What did you think when you saw the Golden Gate Bridge?
Oh, I thought it was wonderful. I didn't think I'd ever be seeing it.
Anything happen on the trip home?
No, I don't think so. I can't remember nothing that really would stir you. I don't know.
They put you on the train and brought you to Tulsa.
Yeah, but no. Yeah, when we left San Francisco, they put us on the train and sent us no, they sent us to Texas.
Texas.
Sent us to Texas. What was it? It's one of them towns Mexicans fought in.
San Antonio?
Is that where they
Yeah.
had the war?
Yes.
Or had the...
Yeah. Fort Sam Houston? Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio?
I believe that's what it was. Where they come together and had the great fight.
Yeah, that's the Alamo.
Alamo.
Yeah, that's San Antonio.
Yeah, that's where they give us our discharges and our extra money and things we were supposed to have to take home. And they put us on a bus in and we left there and sent us to Bartlesville. And I walked all the way from Bartlesville to Dewey.
You did?
And a new pair of shoes. I bought me a new pair of slippers when I come through Bartlesville. And I had such blisters on my heels when I got to Dewey. They was just blood in my slippers. Terrible.
When were you discharged?
When I was discharged, my mind's been blank.
Says here September 1946.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, September 1st, 1946.
yeah. I believe that's when it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you do after you got your discharge?
After what did I do? I don't know. I don't know what I done.
Where'd you go to work?
I first went to work at the cement plant
In Dewey? Yeah.
in Dewey.
What'd you do there?
I was I mopped the dust out of the seals.
With the seals?
What are the seals? Them things that's full of cement. You have to run them right up and
Yeah.
shake it down. The worst job I had. I looked like a cement shaker. And I'd get off work in the morning.
How long did you work there?
I worked there a couple of years at a time.
Who was your supervisor?
Um, uh, uh, no, my mind. I can see them, but I can't call
Yeah.
her name.
How big were the cement bags coming out? How much did the cement bags weigh that came out?
I think it weighed 80 pounds.
80 pounds.
I believe it weighed 80 pounds at that time.
Now, what type of cement were you making?
Yeah.
Well, what type of cement were you making there?
What's it? What?
What type of cement were you making?
It was both kinds. It was the kind that sets up hard, and the kind that sets soft. You know,
Okay.
that you can break loose. But the other kind is regular cement, or what is it? I don't know what they call it.
Was that a mortar mix?
Mortar mix. Yeah, it's a soft.
Yeah.
You set different brick with
And there was like with concrete to the other one?
concrete is
Yeah.
the other. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
concrete.
How long did you work there?
Oh, I don't know. But I've worked there 2 or 3 different times. The old boss there, Cunningham, he'd always he'd say, "Charlie, I'm getting tired of putting you back on there. We're not supposed to do that." He'd put me on every time.
His name was Cunningham.
Cunningham.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you meet Don Tyler?
Yeah.
Tell me about him.
Don Tyler was a friendly man, and he done lots of good deeds for people. He and he offered lots of good deeds. He offered my dad a really good deed. He wanted to buy 500 acres out there where we lived. You know, he'd sell it to him for I think $50 an acre. And my dad didn't have no money. You didn't make no money in the oil fields then. He didn't have no money. What he did, he kept. He didn't have the money, and he wouldn't mortgage his 80 acres, so he didn't want to lose it.
Yeah.
So he didn't buy. And that's the worst deal he ever done, you know, and he knew it, but he could have sold just certain parts of it right away after that. And Don told him, said, you can pay for it in a little while. He said, it'll be worth 3 times that much.
Where'd you meet your wife?
I met her at the old fiddlers contest they used to have in Dewey several years ago.
What's your wife's name?
Pat,
Pat. When'd you get married?
I can't remember. We got married, and then I got a divorce from her. And then she went and got the divorce back. Said it wasn't legal.
When'd you move here?
Moved in here. first of month, I believe.
December of last year,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Or what?
When you first had to leave your farm and come to town, was December of last year.
Sunday of last year.
No. When you first had to leave the farm and come to town was December of last year. That's the first time he's ever lived away from the farm.
Yeah.
Since he-
I don't remember that. It all happened, and I was kind of out of it, I guess you'd say.
If you were young, would you join the Army again?
Not the way things are, no.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. No, but I would now. If they would draft me now, I would go if they would take care of me.
I have a question. When you hear basic training, what do you think of?
Basic training. That is something that I don't think much of.
When you hear 30 caliber machine gun,
Yeah.
What do you think
I
of?
know what a 30 caliber machine gun is. I wish I could have got one to brought home to sit on my front porch. Just shoot it once in a while, you know. But they wouldn't let me.
when you hear lady, what do you think of?
I probably think a machine gun.
Okay.
No, what I really think of is we had storms at night after we dug foxholes, dug in, and the lightning bolts was like artillery coming down around you. The Japanese was dug in the mountain back here, and they had caves dug, and they had the artillery, and they would, when the lightning had hit in bolts, they would fire that artillery because most of them wasn't looking out to see where it was coming from. You know, the ones that supposed to have been watching, which was everybody. But anyway, that would go to hitting around you, and you couldn't. The only way you could tell which was which if it hit close enough to you, splatter mud and water all over you. But hoping the next one wouldn't hit you.
Yeah, yeah.
But I never did hear of any of them getting hit by the lightning. But I have heard of them getting hit by artillery because we was in a camp, you know. And the camp's out in kind of a desert, that's what it reminded me of. It wasn't, but the desert flat out here, and they'd shoot that artillery. They was up on a mountain up higher up here, looking off at us where we dug in that night. We dug in there, and they was watching us all the time back in these caves, you know. They tried to shell them. We would call for artillery, you know, to bomb them, but they could never hit them. I don't know why. We had 4 artillerymen, that's all I could say. It was coming way back from way back.
When you were there in that camp, did you have to pull guard?
Yeah, I'd have to put guard. Of course it didn't do you no good to stand up. You was soaking wet. Everything on you was soaking. You laid in your foxhole full of water before you would set on the outside. Because if that bomb hits in you outside, you'd sure be gone. And you probably would be if it hit close. You know. That's about the worst, I guess. worst thinking that you could think about.
Did you have tents in that camp, or what did you have tents in that camp?
We had, they had tents, but you couldn't see out. And we had that night, well, it was more than one night, but I mean, that one night I'm remembering, we was in the Japanese army. We was in the middle of a camp, you know, and we supposed to been watching, you know, and when that lightning went to hit and everything, and we got in them tents, you couldn't see nothing. You couldn't see out. Didn't do no good to stand up and look out. But the Japanese was used to it, I guess, because they come out with their bayonets, they slashed the tents and stabbed the soldier. They missed me by one. They missed me by one. I missed one bayonet.
You missed one bayonet.
I missed one bayonet that he went past me for some reason, and God was with me. I prayed every little bit. I prayed. You think anybody never prayed? I prayed all the time. I was in there overseas, every day, every moment. And I guess it helped. But see, I just pick up things like that in my mind. Comes back. It comes back to me once in a while. It don't come to me all the time.
You have any questions? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I don't guess so.
Well, sir, this is an excellent interview.
Huh?
This is an excellent interview.
Well, I didn't think it'd be no good at all because I couldn't remember. My memory's gone.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
You did good.
I appreciate you saying that.
I want to thank you for your service and thank you for the interview.
Well, I thank you.
And again, this is October 16th, 2023. My name is Joe Todd. This has been an interview with Charles Ketchum, Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Thank you.
You gonna leave me a copy?
Yes.
Okay, that'd be good.
Yeah.